Today we're diving into the essential tools every 3D designer needs. In my arsenal, I have Blender, 3ds Max, Adobe, Photoshop, Illustrator, and After Effects, and also Unreal Engine, Quixel Bridge, and Stable Diffusion for AI. Let me show you how each contributes to our 3D design workflow. Starting off, we've got the king of the show here, which is Blender. As you can see, we have a Dorito chip. This Dorito is extremely high poly, but look how glorious it is. This Dorito means business. We're going to switch to cycles with GPU, and then if you're new to Blender, you might not know any of this. Don't worry about it, just stay in the layout tab. But you're going to need to make some small changes, so go to Edit, Preferences, make sure that as many add-ons that are relevant are enabled. Node Wrangler, anything with node in it, enable all of those. There may even be some external add-ons you might want to add, such as box cutter, hard ops, and botanic, as well as the bool tool. It's helpful for booleans, once again. And then you're going to want to change your system settings. So you might have this on something else. Unless your hardware is older, don't use CUDA, use optics. The 4090 should be enough power for what I'm doing in this video. If for any reason you're struggling with Blender, you might want to get a better video card. Memory cache limit. You may want to adjust this, but for the time being we don't need to. I usually would set this to a higher number if you have more RAM. In our case, we have a pretty solid amount. We have 128 gigs, so this setting is not going to be for everyone. Lastly, subdivision. Make sure GPU subdivision is on if it isn't already, and also GPU depth picking. That should be really all the settings that are actually important. You can see in Blender that we have a huge pile of things on the left. We're not going to use any of these buttons most of the time, except for a couple of them. Hard ops, box cutter. If you don't own these, buy them. These things kick ass. If I used hard ops on this, I could put a smart box. I'm going to do S and then 4. For those not familiar, in Blender, R is rotate, G is grab, S is scale. 1 is in edit mode. You can hit tab to switch to edit mode. So if you have 3 selected, it'll actually select like faces on the cube basically. But in this case, because I'm using a special box cutting object, it's not going to do it. But let's see. So in here we can hit Q and then do difference. And look what we have. So now we have a giant hole in our Dorito that we can move around. Box cutter can be helpful for things like that. So I hit tab to go into edit mode. You can see that this cube, if I have the number 1, 2, or 3, it switches between vertices, edges, and faces. If you're trying to work really fast, you're probably going to want to know the most efficient workflow. So here are some of the keys. So let's say I wanted to turn this box into something interesting. I can do Control B. Control B does this. for beveling, and then you can scroll the scroll wheel up and you can change how much the bevel is. So in this case, I want to make a pretty extreme bevel, so what I'm going to do is that. So you can see that it only did it on the part where I selected it. Now there's a drop down at the bottom left. With this, I can change to a custom profile. If I make a custom profile, I can then draw something like a staircase or something. And then once I get that close enough to how I want it, now I have this, which is a pretty avant-garde shape. I can change the amount of segments here too. So let's say I wanted 20. Now you can see that we have a really weird shape. And I can adjust the bevel to get similarly strange results. So I can end up with whatever the hell this is. And then once you're content with your strange result, let's just say we want something semi-usable, so I'm going to stick with that. Let's just say this is some kind of avant-garde statue or something. Alright, so now we're back to business. So this thing right here lets me deselect the overlays. And then there is also in the top right, you will see that there is the gizmo, which shows you the movement, the rotation and scale of an object. We don't really want any of these. We have the different shading modes. We have wireframe, solid, viewport shading, and then we got rendered viewport shading. We basically got the gist of everything here, and then we also have symmetry. So let's say I was going to do this. If I have the symmetry set, then when I'm moving stuff with like GY or GS, it is now mirroring it, as you can see. And then we have auto merge vertices. You're dealing with a lot of topology and you need it to like go together because it's overlapping or doing some weird stuff. You can use auto merge vertices to somewhat prevent too much mess up. The other option is you can select the vertices, hit M, and then either merge by distance or merge at the center, merge at first or merge at last. I'm just going to do center, because this is bad topology otherwise. So we'll fix that. And then we also got the mouse, so you might notice how I'm moving around really fast. To get maximum efficiency in Blender, you'll need to move fast, so the scroll wheel zooms in and out. If you hold down the scroll wheel, you can orbit around the object, and if you hold down shift in the middle mouse, you can move around like strafing. And then you got control in middle mouse, which is a little bit different. And then you also got your other thing, which is alt in middle mouse, which sort of like helps you with like measuring, basically. So now you might notice we got some weird stuff happening here that I don't know if we like. So to fix that, we can hold down Alt, and then we can select the whole ring, or we can hold down Shift and Alt, and we can just kind of keep selecting more rings until we're content with our selection. As you can see, that seems to be working. So now we have emitted the weird sections of the shape. So if we wanted to, we could do select, invert, or control I, and then I can isolate these sort of weird Dorito shapes and not keep them. And then I can hold down control to deselect vertices I don't want. I can also go into wireframe, which is this button in the top right, toggle X-ray. And then you can see that we have some screw-ups here. So primarily, I'm gonna just ignore that one for now. But let's say I wanted to change these so that they extrude in a different way. Now I can hold down S, can do that, or I can choose the different modes for transform orientation, which is also in the top middle, and I can do local. And then if I move stuff, it will now move a little bit differently, then change this to individual origins. Now I can change the size of those little Dorito chip things. Or I can do under face, under these controls over here, extrude faces along normals, and then we will get a strange result, of course. But that looks a little better. So now we have a shape that is interesting, and then we can circularize them if we want, or flatten them. I'm going to do flatten in this case. And then also we can do under delete, if we hit the delete key, we can do limited dissolve, which then eliminates all the junk topology that we don't like. And then I can do inset. Or actually, we're going to do limited dissolve and then dissolve. And then we're going to do the extrude actually. Yeah, there we go. So now we've got that, and then we can do statue. So we're going to modify this monkey's topology so that he has a base. So I selected those two faces by holding down Shift and then clicking in edit mode with face selected and not edges or vertices. Now I can do an extrude. And then I can do loop tools flatten, which flattened the base. Now I'm going to hit number 1 on the numpad, or number 3, until I get a perfectly flat result. There you go. Now we might want to do Control R, loop cut and slide, which is another important thing for getting things done fast. I'm only going to do it 2 times, and then I'm going to do a bevel, Control B. One other thing we haven't touched is the magnet for snaps, which lets you snap things to a grid or to other different things like faces or vertexes. And then also proportional editing, which lets us scale everything proportionally. We just have to hit G to change what the radius of the proportional editing alterations will be. I'm going to select only the center of these with Shift Alt and Alt, and now I can fix that. So now we got a much more interesting shape. So there is our monkey statue, which looks pretty strange, but you know what, I can go with it. Smooth lapellation. We can do this, make the face do that, monkey face. We're going to add also a subdivision surface. We're doing it in the correct order so that we get the best effect out of this. Alright, I'm content with that. That's good enough. We have this add menu. Under the add menu, you have like a lot of stuff. So we have force fields, speakers, cameras. I usually just use the regular, but there are some special cameras too. We got light probes like reflection planes, cube map, or radiance volume. We got light sources. I usually do 3-point spot area. These four are the best. Sun isn't usually one I use. Mesh light is still good. We got images as planes, which lets us import a reference. So let's say I wanted to make this room look like something specific. I can then go into my folder and I can import this until I get to something close to the scale of how I think this would look. My guess is that this monkey statue would probably be about that big in this room. Yeah. So now we have a reference in our scene. Next, empties. There's all these different types of empties that exist, but really the most important one is plane axis, circle, cube, sphere, a lattice modifier. And then if I add a lattice, I can then choose how many cuts it has. So let's say, like, how about, so just as an example, we're going to tell it that our lattice object is that. And now you can see it deformed it a little bit. It's quite strange, really, but good enough. Next thing, there is one other plugin that you might have use for, which is Blender Kit. Blender Kit is a good way to save a lot of time. If you're short on time and you have to complete a project quickly, you might need that and also some of this V8 energy. Link in the description. Note to self, if you ever want to do product visualization for a brand, and let's say they're not hiring, but maybe they contract work out, make something that blows their fucking pants off. Something so fucking crazy, they can't not look. Also, make sure you actually do sound design. Because one of the biggest pet peeves that a lot of those guys have is they just get sent a video that has no audio, no sound, and they're like, wow, this looks great, but it's really not that great because there's no sound design. And yeah, that's a big problem. So make sure you do that too. Alright, so now that we've saved that, we're going to reopen this because something went very wrong. Another note, you might notice that I made this insane scene here. This might be a hard sell for a product, but it just kind of like the aesthetic. If you for some reason get hired by Vapor 95 or some vaporwave clothing boutique or something, then you might want some visuals that look this dystopian 90s looking. Because you can see from the extreme level of detail that, well, I can even see these little cake things and this teapot and fire extinguisher with labels on it. It is stupid detailed. That's the kind of thing that people notice, especially if you have strange paintings on the walls. Those are always good. at least for a 90s aesthetic. So we're going to go back to our project. Let's look at Blender Kit again. So Blender Kit is here. First of all, I need something that looks like that bed. And if I don't find one, I'm going to have to make it. So black bed sheets. I'm actually going to use this one. Then we can use the scroll wheel to rotate it. Alright, so we can see our scale is way off. So one of the things you might want to set whenever you're doing a project is under the tools, there's a thing called scale, but it's going to be under different types of units. We're going to use imperial because I don't like that UK thing, personally. Okay. I think Europe has it backwards, personally, when it comes to measurements. That's a lot easier with feet. Okay. Now we have a better idea. So if I go to the top tab on here, it'll say that it's negative 2.9 feet or so, which sounds a little strange in itself, but... Oh wait, there we go. The actual dimension is 118 by 118 feet. So that sounds terribly wrong. Like that sounds like something went terribly wrong. So we're gonna actually ask ChatGPT for a moment. But first we're gonna actually use one of our AI tools. So this is something we haven't gotten into yet. It's one of the secrets of speeding up your workflow. Yeah. So I don't really know what to describe this as to the AI, because it's kind of 90s looking, sure, but it's not specific enough. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to copy this description. I'm going to go over to the description here, see if anybody said anything. Okay, so it's like a 90s penthouse apartment of some sort. Alright. 90s penthouse apartment from the game Voyeur by... Alright, so we copy that whole description in. Now let's add a model. Let's do 512 depth EMA. And then let's do init file. Prior to doing this, actually, we're going to go into Adobe Firefly. Because I like the Adobe Creative Suite. Alright, so we're going to do generative fill. We're going to upload Voyeur 4, and we're actually going to kind of... Oh, that didn't go right. Let's try that again. Be very careful. So you only want certain parts of this. Then this will add to the aesthetic. Cool. Alright, so we're going to feed this into the AI. And we're going to give it that prompt. And then we're going to say the strength that we want. We want 0.99. And then we also want the sampler to be set to something really good. And then we also want a negative prompt. Ugly, bad, blurry, unrelated, dissimilar. we should probably have something we can upscale. Okay. Oh, that one's really good. That one's actually legit. That one looks a little too weird. We're gonna go ahead and do our measurements. So it sounds to me like this room, the room of this whole apartment, probably wouldn't be beyond 120 feet. Just to make it easy, we'll stick with that. Okay. And we're gonna start doing some organization. That'll help a little bit. We right click, we select them, we put them into a new collection. We're gonna call it light by double clicking and typing light. That is our funky thing. I'm just gonna call this monkey statue or something. We're not going to really screw with that much. Alright, so there's our bed. So actually, we might not be as out of scale as I thought. So. And there's our camera. I can't say that the camera is in the right angle. Let's fix that. It honestly looks like that's a pretty straight camera. I don't think there's much angling going on here. We're going to get a similar camera angle to how this bed is tilted so that when we model everything looks right. This monkey statue, we're going to select that object. Hierarchy. Select hierarchy. I don't know what the hell is going on with that statue. That statue's way too big. We probably should add an empty. We'll do Shift S. That's another trick I haven't mentioned. Shift S, cursor to selected. And then we're going to select all the objects in this. Oh, these are fire. Alright. So now we're going to get back to our tools. So let's say we want a bunch of shapes that look convincing. The easiest way to construct this would probably be to use planes and then work with those. But yeah, I'm going to do that. RX, RZ, go back to global, RZ90, RX90, RY90, whatever works. And then we're going to turn on our snaps so everything snaps in place properly. I may have made a bit of an error here. Just to fix that, let's adjust that ever so slightly. Perfect. Okay, I'm content with that. So it looks like there's a little bit of headway behind the bed. We're going to go back to snaps. And do S and then SY4. GY4. Alright. Let's start constructing our little floor plan. GY2, GY2, GX2. I don't think there's that much room behind the bed. No, there is definitely not. Okay, good enough. So now, we're going to go back to edit mode, and then we're going to use the spin tool for a moment. Don't know how useful this tool is going to be, but it might give us some interesting ideas. It might be a little bit less the same. I like things that look interesting. We just want a bougie ass room. That's all we want. I think that's pretty cool having a little arch behind the bed. We're going to add an array. I don't think I could see it being more than that. We're going to do some fancy ass shit here because we're making an apartment for a rich person. They want top quality, and they won't settle for less. basically perfectly matte with the floor. SX8. I think it's a safe assumption. Actually, SX4, because that is actually the wall. Alright, and then we can GX16. Alright, and then you can see that we're going to do Control R and then GZ. And then we're going to that and do another Control R. And then SX 0.75. And we're going to do a fancy bevel operation. And we can fix our shape a little bit here. We can delete these two faces and then instead select the edges and then do face. Grid fill. Actually, I'm going to add a custom shape. I'm going to mesh math function triangle. I'm going to RX90. Looks to me like it's perfectly flat. Since that wall is slanted, we're going to probably do that. I don't think I want to do anything more extreme. Okay. Extrude that through. Alright, so we're in hard ops. We can do control minus now. What the hell, that wasn't right. Do the control minus. Oh shit, that did not go right. I'll take it. That's a nice triangle right there. So that means we can put a light there or something. So what I could do, I could do S on this. Stop using hard ops. Add a light. I'll just add a regular RX 90. For now, we're going to use on this new plane something else. I'm going to put an image from our skybox. The 4B images are better. SC.5, cool. That's pretty good. I'll take it. Good enough. Alright, then we're going to add a simple deform to this. So Control R. I have a lot of geometry here. Then we're going to do a simple deform. That's not right. Or just a bend. Doesn't seem to be doing what I thought it was going to do. That's weird. Turn back on proportional. We'll just do it the right way. Perfect. Alright, so it looks like you're going to need to do some subdiv. Oh, another secret you can do is when you're doing Control R, you can click in the center, then do Control B, and just have the exact size you want if it's something symmetrical. That's pretty good. $38 minus 2 divided by 3 is 12. So that would mean that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We'll just separate them as is. That's better. Alright, now we need window glass, which I feel too lazy to make that right now. So if you're on time constraints, don't feel bad using the Blender kit. You can also use Polygon, or the other thing, Quixel Mega Scans, but I haven't touched it yet. We're using emission so that it looks better. And we're going to add some manual shader nodes to that. So that we'll do Control T, and then we're going to just use these at the same ones. Same. We're going to add a color ramp. So then we emission strength. So now we can choose how bright the buildings are. Then we can add a multiply. The other one. Put that into the strength. And behold, we get perfect balance. We can even add a couple divots in the shading to kind of highlight specific segments we want to highlight. Because I want this to look kind of dark, but not too dark, and not too bright. Definitely not. I'm actually going to keep that one there. Then we can add another black right there. And that certainly looks crisp. Even though it doesn't look right, it is crisp. I'm going to keep it metallic. I don't know if I like that. I'm going to keep it just solid. If you're dumb, you might do that. So the key is to make sure that there's nothing in your viewport that isn't visible that should be visible. And this is just kind of a weird test render, just to sort of give us a proof of concept that we're getting somewhere. you might look with something similar to this, and that's not bad necessarily. Yeah, I think that looks okay. It's a good start. So this is going to be some sort of advertisement once we're done. We're going to want to rig our camera. So right now our camera is just kind of doing whatever it wants to do. We're going to do Shift-S, cursor to selected, add empty, camera, and we're going to find where that empty went, parented, and if we parented it wrong, we can go to the tab up here, and then we can change a tool to only affect origins, or only locations, or only parents. In this case, we only want to affect parents, so we'll do GY16, GY32, GY48. Okay, so now if we set the active camera to that, we stop changing this. Camera pivot, that's what we're going to call that. So you can see that now we're getting a bougie effect now. Or we can look at the bed from outside even. Which is pretty dope. But there's some problems. For one thing, this parent is nowhere near the center of the screen. That's pretty close. We'll go with that. We can also add another thing to the camera. So the camera probably would benefit from having it set. So we're going to make a new collection. Move this into the cameras. And then we're going to add a object constraint. You might not have used these before, but these can change how the camera tracks. So I can track it to empty or camera pivot in this case. And now when I move the camera, it's always facing the pivot. So alternatively, I would say we should make an empty sphere. And let's move that, put it back to stamps. And then we're going to call this one light target, empty. And then we're going to add a spotlight. GZ8, 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 RY 5. exact angle. Then we're going to make this have an add constraint track to light target empty. Now it's always going to face that, no matter what. Target C2. Perfect. Alright, so this light should be like 100,000 or some shit, like some crazy shit. I like this face. Alright, so we want this to align directly with the center cushion. So we're going to make it a little bit taller. Control minus. How about this? Control minus. There we go. Now we're going to add another spotlight. This one's going to come from the ceiling. And we're going to make it 200 watts. It's not going to be super bright. It's only going to be bright enough to give it a little bit of visibility. That wasn't right either. That still wasn't right. That looked right. Shift S, cursor selected. Add a spotlight. And we're going to make a volumetric. Make sure it's in the volume section. Parent this to the spotlight. Now the spotlight will always have the volumetric. Make sure it goes through the floor a little bit. Yeah, and obviously you're going to have to do a lot more than just that to get like high-paying clients, but that's a good start. If you can do this sort of thing, then you're on the path. Anyhow, now that we've done a bit of an example, the next step would be to actually get this into Unreal Engine. Okay, now let's get hands-on. I'm going to proceed from this point to actually create a product advertisement. So what we've got remember storytelling. Okay, now let's get hands-on. I'll take you step by step through creating a fully 3D rendered advertisement in Blender using the scene that we've already created. We'll explore better lighting techniques to sort of enhance the effect of the ad, as well as special effects and things. Remember, storytelling is key in advertisement design, and I'll show you how. For more in-depth learning, join our Discord community. I offer exclusive paid training sessions where you can interact with me in real time. The benefits include personalized guidance, maybe even me correcting your projects. And also you have a community of a good enough amount of people in our Discord that know something about Blender. Not as much as me, but enough. Also, if you'd like me to actually do a full masterclass on a specific thing in Blender, let me know which things are the most interesting to you.
I'm on a roll, I'm in the zone. In the Tetris jam, please leave me alone. Started playing Tetris in the track. No, I'm playing Tetris on my Philips CDI. I started from the bottom, now I'm playing Tetris on my Philips CDI. Started playing Tetris in the track. No, I'm playing Tetris.
And guess what? We're still not done after all of that. I'm just going to skip to the end because I don't think we want to be here for another 5 hours. Meet Magrudr, a cyberpunk cowboy chilling in his opulent penthouse, rocking his signature blue cowboy hat and sipping on an ice-cold Mountain Dew. Introducing Mountain Dew Magrudr Blast, the elixir for his invigoration, packed with essential vitamins and electrolytes. It's the key to unlocking the ultimate power at home. I'm never gonna stop doing the Dew.